Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Oh, we are all the way live, and thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. We thank you so much for wanting to join us and call in and share, ask questions, give information, etc. Hood Research has a website, which is hoodresearch.org. Our email is contact@hoodresearch.org. Our telephone number is area code 248-234-2371. We have all the bells and whistles, the Twitter and the Facebook and all of that. When you log on, you see what we have on the site. I want to thank those of you who helped to sponsor this program. And whenever you sponsor this program, you're also sponsoring Watkins Broadcasting Company. And we like to have as many of you as possible to do that so that we can keep this station strong. That's what's important, is keeping Watkins Broadcasting Company strong. It gives opportunities for information to be shared throughout because, as I'm sure you know, the syndicated, that would be ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox 2, have the opportunity and the attitude that the way they want you to think is the way they put the information out. One thing was interesting, that the people who have been murdered in the synagogue gets coverage throughout the day, throughout the night. But the man who shot a shopper inside the store in the back of the head and a woman outside the parking lot, I think was only broadcast maybe once or twice. That was interesting. Anyway, we want to keep Watkins Broadcasting strong so that you have your own outlet. Today we'll be talking about the election and candidates' proposals and the ballot itself. The levels of government. It is so sad that we've had our schools attacked, first by John Engler, then by Granholm, then by Snyder. And government has been removed from the schools. Phonics has been removed from the schools. Cursive has been removed from the schools. Three subjects that should never have been removed from the schools. But before I continue on that, I want to say good morning to Rosa, to Ron, to Vera, and to Barbara, and to Tom and Jay, way on the east side, to Sam, to Roy, to those of you who are lifetime members of Hood Research. And again, for those of you who attended the luncheon, I hope you enjoyed. And we'll have some additional events that will be taking place that you may enjoy. It is very important to participate in the government where you live. Very important, be it city, county, state, or federal. It's also equally important to work together, to get to know one another, to have some things that are fun and relaxing. Anyway, Davidi, who you want to say good morning to?
I'd like to say good morning and shout out to Sister Jackie. Communicated with her over the weekend. Faithful Hood Research. Faithful feedback viewer, but also one who's very active in the community. Sister Ruth Ann, who inquired about us. Brother Fred, Sister Frida Washington, also Brother Shane, Sister Gwen Renee, Cheryl D., Miss Sheila Ragland, retired and just looking forward to seeing us every Monday. And as I always ask, that you have your family, friends, neighbors, co-workers tune in and have pen and paper handy for information you may want to record. We're in election season now, and it's very important.
Absolutely. I also have to say good morning to Claire and to Kurt, to Diane, and to Gladys. And it is so wonderful to attend the various meetings in the community and meet new faces that you haven't had an opportunity to meet before. Carolyn is someone who watches our program as well. I had a chance to meet her too. But there are so many people who care about the community in which they live. They are concerned, and they come out because they want to learn, they want to participate, they want to have some input into what's happening, because they know that politics affects your daily life, your personal life. Politics affects the property tax that you pay, or whether your home gets foreclosed on. Politics is something that you need to learn as much about as you can. I heard some lady say a few days ago, I'm grown, I'm a responsible adult, and if I don't want to vote, I shouldn't have to vote. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. And it just appeared that there was not an understanding of the necessity to participate in that which affects your daily life. There's the statement that said, people die for your right to vote and all that. Well, in 2018, there are very few people who remember, who know, or who care about that. John Lewis, who was almost beaten to death going across the Pettus Bridge, is still out trying to encourage people to participate in the political process, because he knows, he experienced the kind of brutality that was meted out on people when they were working for their civil rights. There's another thing. They said, well, I don't vote because my vote doesn't count. You're right. Your vote doesn't count if you don't cast it. But if you don't cast it, then you have done exactly what the opposition wants you to do. If your vote was not needed, not to be counted, there would not be so much action, so much trouble, so much hatred put out to prevent you from voting. It's called voter suppression, just in case somebody didn't know what that term was. Voter suppression is the action taken to prevent you from casting your vote. That should let people know how important and how valuable their vote really is. And sadly, well, I'm just not, because I'm grown. Don't tell me I have to vote. Well, there are many who are going door to door to encourage people who are registered voters to cast your ballot, to help make life different. the quality of life is controlled by politics. The quality of life is controlled by politics. Now, I suppose if you're a multimillionaire or billionaire or trillionaire, if there's such a person, then maybe, just maybe, you can do a few things that might make your life a little better. But so often, the people who are on that level have a gated lifestyle. They can't just go and walk among the people like they think they might want to one day. It doesn't work like
And one thing I want to ask our caller just to hold on for a moment, because one of the things I want to mention, since Theo brought up voter suppression, I try to copy as much information, but this is just an example. Voting restrictions passed since 2016, which include limiting early voting, closing polling places, passing voter ID laws, and purging names from voter registration rolls. Now, this is since 2016. These are the actions that have been taken by others, and we just have to be aware that they wouldn't do it if there wasn't a purpose behind it. And the purpose is just to make sure that you're disenfranchised, and maybe even to create an apathy where you just don't want to participate. But I agree, as Theo said, that they wouldn't do it if there wasn't a reason behind it. And along with that, politicians make laws, they legislate. And if you don't have a say-so, like the bike lanes, Theo and I were discussing that on the way here, and there's no practical need for let's just say, the typical Detroit resident. So this was certainly made for other communities, and we have to be aware that if we don't like those types of laws and anything that they may pass, they may change bus routes, whatever it is, don't disengage from the system. It's only one day. And this year happened to be 2 days, primary and general election. But generally, it's only one day out of a year or every 2 years. Now, you get 365 days in a year. I just try to, keep it real. You get 365 days in a year. If you can't take 1 hour out of the 365 days, even if you don't believe in the system, at least give the system a chance to work. And numbers mean everything. People count numbers. We count numbers all the time, so it's critical that we get involved in that. So again, the voter suppression wouldn't be an issue if your vote didn't have some value to it. Now we'll go to our caller. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Good morning. Comcast in Detroit.
Thanks for calling. Your name?
Born new.
Born new. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Yes, I have already voted absentee,
Yes.
and I'm going to see how the election turns out. I have some problems with the voting system. I still think we should give it the benefit of the doubt. Like the brother said, it's a moment in time. Just go ahead and express your election for these people who are running. I want to say also that the Democrats clearly have an agenda in Washington that benefits people of color more than the Republicans. So what is the big indecision about? People are talking about Debbie Stabenow doesn't do this, doesn't do that. But she voted for the Affordable Care Act. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
She
absolutely.
voted for a lot of other stuff that benefits people of color.
Right.
So let's be clear about that. And she probably does a lot of other stuff that we don't know. Senators are kind of an elusive kind of position. They're not as visible as the House Congress people. That John James or whatever his name is,
Yes.
I can't believe he's trying to run a game with black people by talking about Jim Crow and retail overcome, all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, Lord.
When if he was really about something, he would be denouncing Trump now. He's not appealing with Trump because he knows Trump is in trouble. But now he's going to come and try to cover us like he's Martin Luther King.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to work. I hope it doesn't. I also want to encourage people to go to it's a group that Michelle Obama
Wait. We
organized.
can't hear. Hey,
Uh,
hold still or hold the phone still because you also wanted to say something and we could not hear it.
I want to, can you hear me now?
Yes.
A group
Yes.
that Michelle Obama created called When We Vote. Uh, Google it, and they're looking for people to participate in phone banking, calling people across the country, and or to even you can set up some kind of protocol on your phone. You can text people all over the country. So that's one method you can participate in
Okay.
to help to get the vote out. It's called When We Vote.
Okay.
And thank you for the show this morning. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling. You know, the competition for Debbie Stabenow and a person named John James, I find it really kind of interesting that he has stated out of his own mouth that he supports and votes, I guess, whatever way Donald Trump tells him to will. And that statement in itself says that we need to be looking in Debbie Stabenow's direction. The thing that he was doing over the past weekend was going from church to church to let folks see how good he looks. And you're supposed to vote for him just because he's an African American. But any African American who is so supportive of Donald Trump is very questionable. The thing that impressed me about Debbie Stabenow is the fact that we have only one patent office outside of Washington, D.C., where the main patent office is located. The one branch patent office out of Washington, D.C. is located in the city of Detroit. Debbie Stabenow was instrumental in getting that patent office branch here. Now, what's significant about that, in my opinion, is the fact that the name of the branch office is Elijah McCoy. In addition to it being named Elijah McCoy Patent Office, it has a large picture inside of Elijah McCoy, who, if anybody doesn't know, is an African American. He is the person who invented the mechanism that would drip oil and lubricate the train wheels, which made it more efficient, and they could get a lot more done a lot faster. There were those who copied his invention, and they tried to steal it, of course, and they went off and tried to use it. It did not work. They got angry and upset and came back to the general store and threw it on the counter and said, "I want the real McCoy." And that was the invention of Elijah McCoy. Nobody tried to copy it after that. Elijah McCoy lived in Detroit, one of his residents. Had a laboratory in Detroit where he came up with other inventions as well. And he worked at the Michigan Central Railroad Station, which is on Michigan Avenue. So for Debbie Stabenow to be instrumental in relocating, or I should say locating, a branch office, the only branch office outside of Washington, D.C., right here in the city of Detroit, is commendable. And the fact that it's named after him, has his picture in there, brings a sense of pride. And it should bring a sense of pride to all of the black people who live here in the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan for that matter. We need to have more symbols, more models, more statues, more pictures of our people who have done remarkable things such as that. We don't have as many as we should, but yet we got 31 statues of white men around here in the city of Detroit, and most people don't even know what the heck they've done. So, for those who are wondering why I'm mentioning this, is when you have images that you can be proud of, it makes you want to participate in life. Sneeze.
And I'll pick up here at this point and say that first, God bless you even before you sneeze. That it's important. When she mentioned images, this is something that I remember picking up years ago. That a lot of the world is based on symbols and images, and we're very familiar with them. So we may see a Jewish Star of David. We know what to attach to it automatically. We may see images. It could be of some prominent individual, but those images strike us even before we start getting into the meat of whatever it is that the subject or the symbol or image may in itself express. So it's very important for us, and then particularly in our situation where we need positive reinforcements to see that there's excellence within our race. And you couldn't ask for a better example than Elijah McCoy, but certainly we know, and we shouldn't just relegate our investigation of our history to February. But when we look at Garrett Morgan, there's just a tremendous amount of individuals who have contributed greatly to the society. As a matter of fact, the society probably wouldn't have advanced had it not been for the contributions of these individuals. Many would not have lived. Let's say blood plasma with Dr. Charles Drew. We also considered a gas mask in which it was suspect, but when there were a group of men who needed something in order to be rescued, Garrett Morgan was right there. They were reluctant initially to trust him, but of course, when lives were mattered, and they happen to be Caucasian lives, but just the same, when lives matter, it's like we would have to try anything. Now, I'd like to also make the point that when we were talking about Stabenow and John James, one of the things I consider disingenuous is the fact that I guess he hasn't mentioned his boss, number 45, up there in D.C., but the fact that he would mention Jim Crow, of course, this would be something that older African Americans would be familiar with because they had to live through and experience that. Not only that, but when he uses a phrase from Martin Luther King, "We shall overcome," I feel it's disingenuous to act as if he's speaking from the same philosophical thought that Martin Luther King had. The last thing I'll make a point on is this. I know some people, and I've seen this on Facebook quite a bit, where people say, well, Democrats and Republicans are all the same. And indeed, they're politicians, so in that respect, they're all the same. And let's just say we use an analogy and compare them to canines. Well, my thing is that the Republicans are pit bulls and the Democrats are Yorkies. Both canine, but which one would you rather have bite you, the Yorkie or the pit bull? That being said, get to the polls.
Absolutely. That's interesting. We have the ballot here, and there's some interesting things about the ballot. We mentioned earlier about how 3 classes have been taken out of the school system, and one of them being government. We have the 4 levels, which would be federal, that's the top one, state, county, and the city. Those 4 levels. But what's interesting about it, and one of the reasons why government classes would be very beneficial, is the role of the president on a federal level is the same as the role of the governor on the state level, which is the same as the role of the county executive on the county level, which is the same as the role of the mayor on the city level. But they have different names. Now, in government class, our students would learn that. If you don't have it anymore, you just have to kind of, by accident, I guess, find out that those are the same types of positions, the administrative types of positions with different names. How come the state can't have a president, or the county can't have a president, or the city can't have a president, just to confuse the issue perhaps? Then you have the judicial branch. The federal level is the military, the army, which has its different branches, and then they have others in Washington D.C. that they got the specialized units, and the FBI and the NSA and CIA, et cetera, et cetera. On the state level, they have state troopers, the Michigan, well, we're in Michigan, the state police. Then on the county, you have sheriffs. Then in the city, you just have the police. You know, and they all have the same kind of responses and responsibility. Then you have to include in there your courts, your judges, and you got your magistrates. And it just goes on and on with names. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the language, the English language, has so many names for one thing. I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, okay, you got money, cash, moolah, dough, what else? Currency. Now they're throwing in the Bitcoin. But there's so many names for a means of exchange. Okay, so when you go along and you learn all of those differences, it helps you to be a better person. But when you look at what we spoke about earlier, the policies that are put in place to dumb down the members of society, then we got a real issue and a serious need for everybody to understand the importance of voting and the value of your vote. As it relates to the two people we were talking about, I would tend to think that there is a higher grade level for Debbie Stabenow than for John James. We got marginal, we got good, we got excellent, and I tend to think that she would be excellent. But a person who is campaigning, who kowtows to the president only, that's a serious flaw, number one. And it's a serious issue for us, number two. And it's sad that black folk get paraded out there who do not have the best interests of the community at hand. But they're out there for the prestige, the money, the clout, etc.
Yes, we'd like to invite this caller to become a part of the conversation. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
My name is Yvonne, and I'm watching you on Comcast 91.
Thank you for calling, Yvonne.
I want to know, can you explain what that vote no is about? I think they say proposal 2. I'm not for sure. And I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay. Well, proposal 2, would you mind reading?
Proposal 18-2, a proposed constitutional amendment to establish a commission of citizens with exclusive authority to adopt district boundaries for the Michigan Senate, Michigan House of Representatives, and U.S. Congress every 10 years. This proposed constitutional amendment would create a commission of 13 registered voters randomly selected by the Secretary of State, 4 each who self-identify as affiliated with the 2 major political parties, and 5 who self-identify as unaffiliated with major political parties. Prohibit partisan office holders and candidates, their employees, certain relatives, and lobbyists from serving as commissioners. Establishing new redistricting criteria, including geographically compact and contiguous districts of equal population, reflecting Michigan's diverse population and communities of interest. Districts shall not provide disproportionate advantage to political parties or candidates. Require an appropriation of funds for commission operations and commissioner compensation. Should this proposal be adopted? Yes or no?
Okay. Well, first of all, a law was passed so that questions, when it comes to proposals, have to be straightforward. Yes will be mean yes, and no will mean no. There appears to be a majority of people who want the voters to vote yes for this proposal because what we have now has been detrimental to the black community in particular. The current way of dividing up the districts is for representation by members of Congress. And as you may know, the members in the city of Detroit mainly had been represented by Congressman John Conyers for decades. He resigned, and there should have been an election by the people within this area to elect someone else. But the chairperson, Jonathan Kinlock, and the mayor, they tell me, put their heads together with the governor, who doesn't give a rat's assets about the people in the city of Detroit by the way he's acting, and said, well, you know, they don't need to vote. We can hold on until August when there is a primary vote anyway. Let's just do it then. Now, why would you wait until then? Because the end of the term is December 31st. If a person is elected in August, which was the primary, there would be few weeks left for them to really do anything. And it meant that there would have to be two questions. Vote for the person of your choice, this campaigning, to fill in the balance of the weeks, and then vote for someone to start the next term, which would be in January. Well, after they put their heads together, they decided that's what would happen. So the 13th district, which was represented by Congressman John Conyers, went without a representative in Congress for all those months. Now, when they talk about contiguous areas, that means land that is touching land. And each member of Congress represents 500,000 people, 500,000, 500,000 people. So what they did was take part of the city of Detroit, and they added 11 other cities to it. They, meaning the legislators who were dividing up the population in 500,000 for each district, 500,000 for each district. As people are moving out of the state, we stand to lose one district. And there are those who speculate that it may be one district in Detroit, and that Detroit may be added to an area that has a majority of voters that vote against what is good for the citizens in the city of Detroit. And that by action has been the Republicans to date. So now, with this proposal, the second proposal that the BD just read, we, with our vote between the absentees and those for the general election, which is November the 6th, will stand to determine whether or not we want to change in the process. And the change would be applications go in to the Secretary of State, who will at that point determine who's Democrat and who's Republican by pulling randomly applications. And there will be 4 who have said they're Republican, 4 who have said they are Democrat. Those are considered the major parties. And 5 additional people who do not claim to be Democrat or Republican, which will give a total of 13 people on that commission. At that point, after the people have been confirmed to be what they claim they are by affidavit, they're swearing to it, then a commission will be set up, or committee, group of people, however you want to term it. There goes the English language again. The commission will look at maps, and they will have assistance as well by demographers, etc., who are experts in this field, and determine which populations will be added together to give a fairer representation, so that we have persons in Washington, D.C. representing us who care about the areas in which we live. Now, that's basically what they're asking for. What I question is who's going to submit these applications? And will Detroit be included or excluded? Will Wayne County be included or excluded? However, what we have now has not worked on our behalf. We can try this, which means you would vote yes. If it does not work, then you have to put forth the effort to come up with a different process. There are other states that have a version of what is being proposed to us on this ballot. So it may be worth a try. Well, you never know. What I can tell you is what they're using now is not working at all. And one reason is because the legislators in Lansing are held by majority Republicans in the state Senate and in the state House of Representatives and in the governor's seat. So being in a majority, having the control, each time the census has been done, they have fashioned the districts to their own liking.
We have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Slago.
Happy Monday.
Channel podcast 91.
Okay. What's up?
Just read today that the court supposedly in Georgia is stopping the restriction and the games being played to cut the people from voting. What do they call it? Suppression, voter suppression?
Yes, voter suppression.
Yeah, well, supposedly the court is intervening to stop that voter suppression in Georgia.
Well, that would
so
be good
that's
news.
just another example of how it's important to vote, because you see the extremes people are going through to cut you from exercising your voice, exercising you to even count.
Right.
So that's just something I had to put out there. Hope there's something positive and encouraging for others to understand. It's the reason why we vote.
That's right.
I mean, I don't like it. I feel like there's some negativity going on. But because of the negativity, we have to turn it into a positive, and that is to stand up and fight and do what's right, and to put our count. Count yourself in. Count yourself in, not out.
That. Count yourself in. Yes.
Count yourself in and not out. And I think I'm going to do yes on all the proposals, and I'm hoping that with the marijuana that we can free many people that have gone to jail, because I look at it as like the number system. When they was out there playing numbers, they decided, oh, you people's making too much money and you're supporting your community too. We're going to have to turn that into an illegal game so that we can gain. And now people gambling twice, they play the lottery twice a day, 7 days.
Right.
They got casinos all over, everywhere and every way. And so that one group can make it and the other one would suffer and once again be criminalized and make money off of them by throwing them into the prison planet.
Yes.
So I'm voting yes on all the proposals, and I'm hoping that people would not just take advantage of the marijuana as a user and abuser, but take advantage of being a business owner. You can be a business owner to the extreme that you don't even have to touch it. You can be the chemist. You can being someone that does marketing, advertising. So there's
Transportation.
a whole lot of areas in this industry that someone can be employed and become their own CEO or become the industry. We definitely need to be owners because that's another way that they can poison you. They already poison us through food and water. They can poison you through this marijuana.
Yeah.
So become the industry. Be a CEO. Learn the business. You was business before you went to jail. You can come out and be better businessmen now, and are legit. And this way, you won't sell your community's poison because you'll have your chemist to make sure that it's being treated right
Right. Good
and
point.
safer on a safer level.
Right.
And I think I'm gonna put Cottrell in there. I'm gonna go with the slate. Thanks for all your help, Hood Research. I'm going to go with the slate to get Joanna Underwood, Denzel, Tracy, and all the good folks in. I think I'm going to add Cottrell in here.
Tracy
Because
Peters.
he's doing things to support the community now, to educate, to liberate, to buy land,
Right.
become landowners, property owners.
That's right.
So we need people on that
And a couple of
charter.
weeks, a couple of
We
weeks
don't need
ago,
the crooks to deal
Right.
with this book.
Right.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. And a couple of weeks
Thank
ago,
you.
we had Nicole Small on, who is a candidate for the Charter Commission as well, along with Joanna Underwood. And we definitely need some people who are going to challenge those who have been set up to be on the Charter Commission. And hopefully the police commissioners will not be eliminated from the charter. And Sam Black calls in, and he's encouraging those who want to run for the Charter Commission upon election to put the affirmation back in the charter for those who win to swear that they will uphold the rules and policies within the charter. That was taken out. It's curious that that would be taken out. So you don't have to swear to uphold the charter. What's the point in having one, you know? So anyway, hopefully they will replace that back in there. And also have to add that the Wayne County Community College is asking for a continuation of the millage. And just a few things that they do. One is currently they are putting up a sports medicine building down on 4th Street, which the chancellor paid cash for. And if you know about buying a house, you know if you get a mortgage or a loan, there goes the English language again with all these words meaning the same thing, you end up paying for it 3 times. If you just pay straight out cash for your house, that's it, no extra interest. Well, that's what he has done for this sports medicine building. And I had someone say to me, well, you should tell people that he paid cash for the building because they'll say, well, if you got that kind of money, he doesn't need mine, doesn't need a millage. Well, that's not true. Once you spend the money and it's gone out of the account, you should want to replace it. The purpose for replacing it is Wayne County Community College District provides the scholarships for young people who need assistance with their tuition. Wayne County Community College District provides free classes for those who are 60 years of age and older. Free classes for those who are 60 years of age and older. And I think most of you already know that there are loved ones who have given you a computer. And it's still in a box, in the corner, under the table, in the dark. You've not taken it out. You've not learned how to use a computer. You got to come into the technological age. And Wayne County Community Colleges, we have three campuses inside the city of Detroit. They have 6 total, but we have 3 inside the city of Detroit. Easy to get to. Wonderful opportunity to take a free class on how to turn it on, plug it in, learn how to use the computer. They also have a class that teaches you how to navigate the internet. So why not take the classes? Take that computer out of the box. Your loved ones cared about you. That's why they bought it. Learn how to use it. You know, the internet has all but replaced, what is it, the Britannica, America, what is the books that were out all the time at the beginning. Britannica, and there was another one where you would get the set and learn a lot of history, a lot of information. Well, the internet has really replaced them. And you can also glean a lot more information through the internet. You can talk to people around the world on your computer. Why not come into the age of technology and learn some of that good stuff? It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I have an announcement to make. Many of you know Professor Michael Griggs. He's been a guest on this show many times. He's having a political meet and greet this Sunday coming, the 4th, at 901 West Chicago in the Boston Edison District. It's from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'll mention that again because I know as I asked for pen and paper that, now you may be scrambling to write it down. So again, there's going to be a political meet and greet on Sunday, the 4th, at 901 West Chicago in the Boston Edison District from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'll make that announcement again once more if you didn't have pen and paper handy towards the end of the show. Now we'll go to a caller that we have. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Yeah, Renee from Pontiac,
Hey,
watching
Renee.
on the internet.
All right. Thanks for calling.
I'm going to have to disagree with Sylvia. Sylvia, I love you, but I can't support no marijuana. But
Okay.
I'm going to tell you something. Okay, it kind of getting the echo, so that's why I'm talking a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Pine, we were tricked we didn't vote that in. It was the people that supported marijuana came to our polls around 12 o'clock with a bunch of these street people from other cities, and they passed out this for jobs, this for jobs, this for jobs. Mm-hmm. We got some people here that have reading problems, so they don't read the proposals. They just go on and tell whoever told them something at the polls, and they vote on. It passed. We had a recount, and we passed by one vote that they have 20 dispensaries, unlimited growers, and unlimited processors here in Pontiac.
That's the
Pontiac's
medical.
only 20 miles around,
Is that the
so
medical
that's a
marijuana?
1 mile. We're
that-
trying to get it off in the industrial park or just in our downtown area, because these downtown business owners want it. Now, our low-down mayor won't give the council the papers, like their maps and things, so they could determine where to place the place. The council's for us, saying, they didn't want it either. But she playing with these drug dealers, what I call them that, because that's what they are. Anyway, and then I'm going to drop this on the people that support it, that think these black people going to get in it. No, you're not. $6,000 the application fee to the state of Michigan. If you get rejected, do you get your money back? No. Answer is no. Now, Pontiac get on it too. Now, here, I don't know about what Detroit is. Pontiac also has an application process. It's $5,000 for that. If you get rejected, do you get your money back? No. Then, just to have a shop, and this is not including the overhead and you paying your staff and everything. This is just to have the shop itself. You better have $250,000 just to get one. We had a meeting. The only people I saw at that meeting was very little Pontiac residents, but the majority of them were Arab business owners. That's all that most that room was. It was about filled up with. I ain't never seen them. That many Arab people here in Pontiac, except at the party store. And then there was some of these high white hippie white folks was in there. They got up and left when they found out it was $200,000. The hippie white folks. No, this is not the black people game. The only thing we're going to be is the end user. These kids are going to be high. People are going to die. People are going to be driving high. And another thing, Ms. D, I know I won't run your time. Get an insurance underwriter, please, on your show. I've been begging the council. How is your insurance rates in your city going to be affected by these places in your tax bill? People don't think about that. And I'm telling you, this is the black people. It's going to be just like the schools and the lottery. You're going to be locked out, out. I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. But anyway, and this demon, that's a demon. Why you want to promote a demon? Marijuana is still a drug. I don't care what it is. It's a drug. It's always been a drug, and it always will be a drug. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Renee.
I have to chime in here real quick and say that it's a drug because the government back in the 1920s or 30s described it as Schedule 1, which is the same classification that you give cocaine and heroin. It's certainly nowhere near that because it's grown organically, basically from the earth, where heroin and cocaine and certain other drugs are processed. Now, I'm not saying yay or nay to the proposal. As we know, Sly Soul has one opinion. Renee has another opinion. What I think is important is that you get out and vote. Whatever position you take, the position should be that you get out and vote. Now, the last thing I'd like to say, and we'll go to our next caller, is that yes, indeed, those who are on the street peddling or selling drugs are drug dealers. But we must also remember that pharmaceutical companies and doctors are drug dealers too. It's just that they are considered legitimate in the eyes of the law, but we wouldn't have an opioid epidemic if it wasn't for the pharmaceutical companies sending their representatives to doctors saying that this may be able to help your patient. So they're all drug dealers. It just depends on what you want to. Again, as Theo said, there's many different terms that we use, but it all means the same thing. Whether they're doctors, pharmaceutical companies, or the guy that's got the house over there on Dexter somewhere, they're all drug dealers. And we'll go to our next caller. And the last thing I'd like to say, I'm glad Theo reminded me, was that people don't die from marijuana. I would love to have somebody tell me, and I actually heard a proponent, I'm not with Snoop Dogg, but he did say in an interview I heard on National Public Radio that you never hear about a person ODing on marijuana. It just doesn't happen. So I just have to make that statement. Now we'll go to our next caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Is it me?
Yes.
Renee, I love you too, but I already have friends, young and old, that's already successful. So I'm just saying it can be done, but we keep telling and letting other people tell us what we can and can't do.
Exactly.
But we can do anything as long as we have the right love and unity in our communities. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. What's interesting about getting back to this ballot, I was talking about Wayne County Community College. People talk about how so much is being done for downtown Detroit and nothing for the neighborhoods. Well, it seems that Wayne County Community College does a lot for the neighborhoods. One, by providing the campuses for our people to attend. Number two, there happens to be a particular job that is a result of taking a class at Wayne County Community College and driving a big rig, 18-wheeler, truck, And if you have a CDL, which stands for Commercial Driver's License, or if you need one, they will assist you in both. At the end of the classes and getting your driver's license, there's a company that they have access to who will hire you. And the scholarship is available. So if anybody who is interested, that is available through Wayne County Community College at no tuition cost to you. There are many things that are available through this school that we need to continue to support. The next, I'm, talking to a couple of people, I guess, so far, And they're asking that you go to the city council meeting tomorrow because there's supposedly a request that the council turn over Northwest Activity Center. Turn over. You know, it's interesting that it seems like wherever there's a large number of African Americans who participate in a particular location, it needs to be turned over to somebody. Hopefully, they're not talking about another authority. Because you know, my definition of an authority is a private group of people who take your public tax dollars and give them to their personal friends. And we want to know what is going on with Northwest Activity Center. And if you want to call your council member, you can call your council member at 313-224-3443. Any council member you want, you can get at that number, 224-3443. That's any council member. And when they answer the phone, you just tell them who you want to speak to, and they will connect you to that office. 224-3443. You may want to call and inquire and tell them you don't want them to take over Northwest Activity Center.
I'd like to make a quick note also, since we were mentioning WC3, just to let everyone know, if you want to vote absentee ahead of time, you can go either to the Eastern or the Northwest campus, as well as the Rosa Parks Transit Center to and the Detroit Election Commission. But for those who don't know, and we always have to mention that we can't assume everyone knows, so sometimes information may need to be repeated multiple times for those who have not or are not aware of it, just as you may tune into this show, but you may have missed something earlier, so we can't assume that. But just be aware that the Northwest campus, the Eastern campus, and the Rosa Parks Transit Center are all places where you can submit your absentee ballot. And I'll have that. I don't have it here. They sent me a form at the house, but I got so much paperwork, I'm going crazy.
Right. I think the time is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. But that's at all three of those places, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And I'll quickly state in regard to marijuana, those of you who follow the business information that comes out, particularly Bloomberg, they had an article on marijuana, and they said that they felt, and I mean, this is one of those major multinational type corporations, Bloomberg, but they said that it wouldn't be a bad idea to invest in medicinal marijuana in the stock market, because with the growing number of baby boomers and others who are interested, it's going to be, somebody's going to get in on those stocks. One thing for sure, we can see the wave coming where it's not going to retreat. Federal government hasn't figured out how to make money on it, but it's something to consider, and I will read the article in depth. I'm going to get to this caller as we have only about a minute and a half left. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Yeah, my name is Tyrone, and I'm reviewing you on Channel 33. I'm going to say this right quick. You know, this is why when you're speaking about the Northwest Activity Center and other projects in the city, this is why a lot of people have the attitude, sure, I'm going to vote, especially for Wayne County Community College, and maybe a few judges. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people have the attitude because we vote and put these Negroes downtown, and you got to go down there and beg them to do their job. That's why a lot of people had the attitude. Most of the people, I know a lot of people, I've been talking to people for years, and the first, I can't understand why they don't get behind the community instead of being behind the business people down there. There's so many things that's going on in the city, fine. Just like they talking about that big tower going up there where Hudson's at, and they're going to need $60 million, $600 million of taxpayers' money, and then you got schools out here that ain't got running water. When are the folks going to wake up in this town? Because it seems like I've been voting for 45 years, and it seems like you vote and put these folks in office, and they don't do nothing for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand how you think about it, how you evaluate it, but it's also important that you come out to the various meetings so that you can learn about the candidates who are asking you for your vote. And we don't want you to vote for somebody just because they're wearing, what is that new suit? They got Armani suit. That that doesn't make good character. We have many people who figure if they dress well and they smile nice and they may even kiss your baby, that they're the ones for you to vote for. But that's not true in all cases. Matter of fact, it's not true in a lot of cases. But now that we do have the internet, there are records that can be checked. And those records are talked about in many of these community meetings. So we want to do that. And sometimes you can think that a person you're putting in office is good for you and find out later that that is not true. And so then you have to go, as they say, go back to the drawing board and find another person who has good character and will do good things for you. And that's why we vote over and over again, every 2 years for some, every 4 years for others, every 6 years for even a different group of people who get elected. Because we have to, I guess you say, weed through the crap to find those who are concerned about us. And you know, I'm so sorry we're at the end of this program because I want to tell people to have a slip of paper with the names of the people that you want to vote for so that when you go into the booth, you won't have to search all over and try and decide who is best and who's not. Just take the form with you so that you can go through the list and pick the best person of your choice. I say at the end of the program, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. And we at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can to share with you to help us all make better informed decisions.
Again, I'd like to announce that this Sunday, the 4th, at 901 West Chicago in the Boston Edison District from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., there will be a political meet and greet, which is sponsored by Professor Michael Griggs and Hood Research. So do your best to attend because there's a lot that you can learn. And as I always say, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished.
That's right. And Michael, you got to take care of that towel.
So we will see you next week, and stay tuned for Get in the Know with Marley B.